If you ever need me, just call. I'ma come running, give it my all. Love is love, God wins. Keep your vibrations high and watch how your blessings.
Grand Rising. Let's just share the live out. Share the live out. That way we could build the room up. Let's get some music playing. Share the live, like the live. Do the free stuff.
If someone says I told you so, then what is destiny? 'Cause if I know, then I can show the very best of me. Dividing lines, dividing times, sometimes not our choosing. If we want more, we should explore. There will be no losing. Let love guide you. Let love be the light. Let love guide you. Let love be the light. Let love guide you. Let love be the light. It's inside you, shining day and night. If someone says I know the way, should we just go follow? Or do the ones who take the lead end up feeling hollow? Blurring lines and blurring times, this is what they're doing. 'Cause if we know inside our hearts, then it's worth pursuing. Let love guide you. Let love be the light. Let love guide you. Let love be the light. Let love guide you. Let love be the light. It's inside you, shining day and night. Na, na, before.
Y'all share the live out. Share the live out. Make sure y'all share the live out.
Now that I know, I get
Let's build the space up. Build the space up.
The very best of me.
Get them lights up. We gotta get them lights up.
You know that I need them. In the bush behind them trees, we give it to you freely, please. Baby, don't you tease. Get them lights up. Get them lights up. Time to raise the lights up. Get them to 100% for the Alice Fam event.
I wonder why.
Lights up. Lights up. Get them lights up. Cause I know y'all wanna see it. Yeah, I know you wanna see it. Say you wanna see it. Yeah, I know you wanna see it. I know you wanna see it. Say you wanna see it. I know you wanna see it. Yeah, we say we need them, cause it's no more freebies. You came here to see me, please. Baby, don't you tease. Get them lights up. Get them lights up. Time to raise the lights up.
Again.
Lights up, get them lights up. Time to raise the lights up. Get them to 100%. It's the Alice family.
You know that I need this. You know that I need that. Get some lights up. Okay. We're gonna go into some depth today. Like I want to show y'all the levels of this. So I'm gonna go into some depths of this learning today. All right, are y'all ready for that? One's in the chat.
Lights up, get them lights up. Lights up, get them lights up.
Ready?
Get them to 100%. It's the
we're gonna go deep, like everything that's happening right now. I'm talking about everything that's happening right now. We're gonna break it down. Yes, we was right about the Antonio Brown situation. He is looking at attempted, unaliving charges after that Aiden Ross situation, of course, right? We was right about the Ray J situation. We was right about the Knot situation. Okay, he didn't leave New York. Maybe he got froze. I see him walking around like well, never mind. All right, but everything that's taking place right now, and with the tariff that's put in order, with this happening right here, this is, listen, if tariff is already going to hurt us in the second half of this year, do we need to be, and look, you can go look at it, like it seems like Trump is dealing with it harshly. He's telling them to make peace no matter. I don't think peace can be made after this. I mean, if a nuclear plant was actually hit, then it's a 12. Now, we don't know the wind spread of this, right? Let's say something was hit. We don't know if it's spreading in the wind. We don't know what it's going to bring, entail, so on and so forth. And that brings me to the subject or the topic, conversation at hand is literally like everything that you see happening right now. If you are watching, if you are paying attention to it, right? And this goes back to what I was pointing out with Jaguar, right? The mindset, right? It seems like it's a Armageddon software, right? That's why her son say, in the time of Mehido, in the time of Armageddon, because this is something that she programmed in him over and over and over again. It comes from the Lumeria energy, the stories that was given. That's why she said it was old magic, older than Egypt, right? Because only certain people down here actually know about different energies and forces, reptilian software, so on and so forth, right? What is the reptilian part of the brain, so on and so forth, right? So during the time of Atlantis and the time of Lumeria, right, there was certain knowledge that was given in regards to our consciousness, right? And how to develop and build and grow a consciousness, right? And then there were certain variations that was given of how to manipulate consciousness, right? And these different people down here have been using different variations of this. Hold on, TikTok. Let me get y'all a better backdrop so y'all can get a better understanding of what we talking about, because right now y'all looking kind of lost, and I don't like when people look lost. Okay, so let's get y'all right. Okay, 7. Your alarm clock is going off. Okay. Turn that phone off. Man, why are you setting alarms that you're not never getting up to? Uh, Absolutely. And there's a lot that we don't see, you know? So right now in this time, there's a lot of stuff that's happening, you know. Moving forward, you're gonna have to, deal with the discernment, proper precautionary measures. Um, I don't know. If we was to get into it, I can't really go into the depths of it, like on here. Uh, Hold on. Yeah. Can't really go into the depths of it on here because of how everything is, but let's just say, fallen Anunnakis, fallen Elohims, whatever you want to call them. There's a bunch of different names people call, different things like that. So it's, part of the Galactic Federation, of light. You can look up Thoth, Valid Thor, um, different things of those storylines to figure out what's going on. Um, these are energies, entities, whatever you want to call them, that can hijack the vessels of mankind. You know, it's because they live in a different density. You can't really see them with the carnal eyes. You can't really see them with carnal eyes. So, that because they live in a different density, however you want to look at it, you can't really see them with the carnal eyes. But if we're looking at this and we're, properly analyzing this, then we can see the change. We can see the switch up. And, there's certain things that's happening right now that is related to a lot. It's a deeper thing. It's something deeper. And, it comes with like okay, so we're not going to get into the pestilence program, right? We're not going to get into the pestilence program because that talks about population control, right? And different variations of how to control the population, right? And this is a fact. If you go back and study the Georgia Guidestones, I think the Georgia Guidestones had something in there that said, like, in this time, that they were supposed to depopulate by like 95% or something like that. So you can go study that stuff for yourself. You can go look into, you know, the emerald tablets, so on and so forth. You can go look into hieroglyphics, Egyptian mythology, Roman mythology, uh, any of that. You can go back and look at the different things that have took place throughout the history. Namaste, namaste, ashe, salutation, shalom. Uh, right. That's why they took it down. Absolutely. So, when you looking at these different things, right? And this is the one that you have to look at right here. Big, 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 big programming. Like, don't get it messed up, guys. This is all. That's why I say the world is one big stage. Okay.
We dedicate our
Tell
group
me if you
prayers to the
guys can
Middle
hear
East,
that.
the 10th Stargate Iran Gate areas of the Golden Eagle Grid, which are heavily influenced by war, genocide, and rampant killing agendas to spread into other parts of the earth.
Allegedly.
These Middle East areas included are the uprisings in Egypt, Syria, Iraq, and its relationship to Israel as the second inner world Stargate. Where there are weaknesses in the energetic field of the planet, these areas of religious conflict are the most vulnerable to these types of hatred attacks. These weakened areas in the planetary grid are vulnerable to the propagation of the Armageddon, 911 timelines, agendas. In the United States, the most vulnerable area related to the current civil war crisis in Syria around the use of chemical weapons is the northeastern seaboard of North America. We dedicate our prayers of strength, endurance, and protection for the people living on the northeastern seaboard of the United States, the Middle East, and other weakened areas that may be targeted for exploitation for the Armageddon agenda.
Now, allegedly, supposedly, right? Now, something don't want me to speak right now. I promise you, something don't want me to speak right now. If you tell me that that's not related to what we see going on, if you tell me that that's not related to what's about to take place, if you tell me that something of this magnitude is not in effect right now, because they get mad at the things that we speak about over here, right? And I keep asking myself, why? Why are they getting mad about the things that we're speaking about over here? If they open their eyes, they can see that the things that we're speaking about over here is highly related to the reality that we are living in, right? And then the universe keeps telling me, forgive them for they don't know. Forgive them for they don't know. I don't. That's why I say allegedly. That's why I say allegedly, because I'm not the one putting out this information. I'm the one that's running across stuff and studying it like, oh shit. You know what I mean? I'm the one just running across it and looking and studying it like, yo, what the that's it. And if it closely fits this that's it. Like, I'm just observing it. I can't help it if it closely fits the reality that I'm just reading stuff and coming across stuff and like, yo, hold on, what the hell? Iran, Iraq, Stargates, hold on, Stonehenge, Anunnaki, Nubaru, hybrids, what? Hold on. So that's all I'm doing. So you can't really get mad at me, you know. All I'm doing is observing stuff. And I'm just pointing out the stuff that I'm observing. Right? Ironically, the stuff that I happen to be observing is because you look at the reality that we're living and you're like, whoa, what the hell? Now, if I would have spoke about this 30 years ago, you probably wouldn't have. If I would have spoke about it last month, you probably wouldn't have. If I would have spoke about it a couple of months ago, you probably wouldn't have. You know what I mean? And but now you could probably see it a little bit more. Now, if I speak about it, you probably could see it a little bit more. You know? Now it's probably too close for comfort to speak about it. Right? Right? With everything that's going on, it's probably too close for comfort, ain't it? If there is an agenda, if there is something taking place, right? Let's say a big mistake was made. How would you clean up a big mistake? I want y'all to think about this. If there's a level of control, a level of getting out in front of some sort of agenda, because think about this. Even back in the 90s, you knew that when they were coming around to do the censorship, how many people do you have in your household and so on and so forth. And yes, we're doing a censorship of the, area and we want to know, right? We knew surveys said that somebody was crunching numbers somewhere, right? We knew that. We didn't know for what, but we knew numbers was being crunched. right? And this is why they said, by two, and you think about it, and some of y'all heard this. One's in the chat if you heard this back in the 90s, them saying something on the lines of, you know, um, they knew that by 2025 that, America was going to be full of color or something of that magnitude. Do you guys remember like hearing things like that? Right? And we literally like, you know, pointed out so many different things that was taking place, you know, so many different things that was happening. We pointed it out. We pointed out so much. We and we pointed out the Ray J stuff. Ray J's the party man. Ray J comes in when it's party time. Ray J, pops up when it's party time. When it's time to party, Ray J's out and about, right? And everything else that you see and you are about to see take place, you listen. I can do like a now and later type of thing, like where I can just tell you everything that's about to happen, the lineup of everything that's about to happen, and then it's going to be looked at. If I say it right now, then it's going to be like, oh, misinformed, right? So I can't say it right now. So we have to just watch it unfold. You get what I'm saying? The world is one big stage. All right. The world is really one big stage. You got to pay attention to it. And the thing about it is like, yeah, not everybody's not what do you say, like donating to the proper causes. Everybody's not, but it's a shift that's taking place. The universe is moving people, in the directions that they want them to be. The universe is putting people where they need them to be. Like you can't even, to be honest, like if you open up to accept a level of movement from the universe, right? If you open up to accept a level of movement from the universe, that's one thing, right? But 9 times out of 10, when you are on a spiritual journey, a spiritual path, going through a spiritual, acceptance, alignment, however you want to look at it, then the universe is going to put you where the universe needs you at. Sometimes, you know what I mean? The universe is going to put you where it deems that it needs you at, and that's going to be, you know, the whole thing about it. You know what I mean? And it's bad acting right now. At this point, it's almost like you can see it. Like, wow, you didn't think it was on that high of a magnitude, but now you're like, wow. You didn't think it was on the level where people will do, certain variations of stunts in order to win the election or anything of that. You didn't think like that was happening. You didn't think like certain people was put in Hollywood to be played at certain image in order to push a certain narrative and a certain collective. Like you didn't think that certain streamers was out here being the idea face. Like, because look at Kai Cenat right now. Kai Cenat can actually move a whole younger collective in a positive direction, right? But he has to put out a certain variation of chaos, a certain variation. Like Why isn't all of these people moving everybody into a greater positive direction? Because, you know, even when what's his name, Rob Dearday had that show Ridiculousness and all of that other stuff, you know, there's warning labels that come in the beginning and after, you know, the show to let people know, like, don't do none of this stuff that we're doing, right? But when you have streamers, right, and this whole streaming university, you have, you know, he's about to do a Chaos Island or something like that. So right now, all these streamers are selling chaos. They're selling controversy. This is why you see, you know, cooking with Kaya, arguing with her friends, exposing, you know, exes. This is why you see certain people doing certain things, you know, trying to get that viral moment. This is why you see, you know, certain people crashing out because they're trying to get that moment of fame, because people are more entertained by a crash out than they are by somebody speaking knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? They're more entertained by a crash out than they is that somebody is trying to teach you how to have peace with inside yourself. They're more entertained. Like, that's selling, you know, meditation and you know, inside shadow work, all of that stuff, that is also in going on in a different group of a collective though. People trying to do shadow work, work on themselves, so on and so forth. You know, but I want y'all to think about this. If the script is to put us in conflict, if the script is to put us in difference, if the script is to put us, at ends with each other, right? Then us playing along and putting the anger into it would be following the script too, wouldn't it? So all of this division, all of this separation, all of this madness that's going on. I mean, we just had a strawberry moon. If y'all don't know these energies that's coming in, so on and so forth, you know, hey, look at Jaguar. She know those energies that's coming in. That's why she piped her ass down. You don't see her going around speaking the shit that she used to speak. And she done piped her ass down, right? She's trying to humble herself a little bit. She ain't going around speaking all. She trying to humble herself a little bit. And you also see the numbers game because her numbers spiked a little bit when that check was cleared. But now, like I said, we at the end of it. Look at the number change. Look at the numbers change, right? Ain't gonna see another spike until after the 21st. You gotta get that, you know what I'm saying? That paycheck gotta hit. Neither here nor there, though. You're watching all of them do their little 1-2 steps, right? Here we are over here. And see, all of them tore down our progress. You think about how many people we can already be helping. Think about how many homesteads we can already have up if it wasn't for the negativity that they put around us because of their own jealousy. Think about that. I sit there and I think about that sometimes and I get upset because I'm like, damn, I'm really out here in the physical world trying to do positive things and help people out in real time. And these people are on the internet sitting in their kitchen drinking Jack Daniels, letting Luther lick them in the mouth. You know what I mean? Ain't putting nothing back to the proceeds. Ain't trying to really help the world. Ain't trying to improve. Literally tell people I don't want to do better. You know what I mean? Stopping other people's progress. All right, so then you have the 9/11 timeline, right? The 9/11 timeline scripted according to, all right. So then you have the hidden EI and fallen angelic history, right? This is where the Cat Williams come in, the Joe Rodens come in, right? Joe Roden said one thing. He said, he would rather take over space because at least if you take over space, you can find people in space and pull up on them like, yo, where's my rent money at, right? So it's a colonization and governing system of space, right? But he said, but underwater you can't find nobody, you can't pull up on nobody underwater. So therefore they say they would rather take over space. Now once again, I want y'all to remember, NASA used to be once upon a time a underwater exploratory program, if I'm not mistaken. Allegedly, NASA used to be an underwater exploratory program, right? Now whatever it is that they seek when they went up under there, right, made them change their whole direction, right? And now, as of recently, this whole hidden ET thing, where they saying that aliens are in our ocean now, seems to be falling right in with the alignment of what we're speaking on, right? And now, you have certain people like Busby and certain other people who saying that they have lost the technology to get back to space. They lost the technology, right? Is either they lost the technology or they no longer have access to the portal, because that's the truth about this, right? And we can paint whatever picture we want, but there's more things going on inside of our earth than it is outside of our earth. I promise you. I promise you. Because there's no possible way that in 1995 our science book told us about plate tectonics. I want y'all to think about this. Plate shifting tectonics, earth plate shifting that causes earthquakes and eruptions in our earth, so on and so forth. Do y'all remember the history of that? The history of plate tectonic, they told you that it was made up of a mantle, core, surface level dirt, so on and so forth. You later find out that we ain't been nothing but 8 miles deep into our earth, so therefore we were nowhere near the core, you know what I mean? We were just, so when you're talking about magma and lava and all of this other stuff, and you're talking about, how is Japan finding whole civilizations in the ground that has an ecosystem and so on and so forth? If you think about plate tectonic, shouldn't, plate shifting or something like that take place with these things that are being found in our earth now, these places that are being found, right? Japan 2 years ago, 3 years ago said that they're now identifying sandbars as islands. So they said that they found like 1,000 something plus new islands, allegedly, supposedly, right? Now that, to me, that begs to change the idea of that, we need to depopulate, right? If everybody on the planet can fit in the state of Texas, then why are we not doing a lot better, right? Why is there third world countries if we have the technology to, rebuild on multiple continents, and however you want to look at it? Like, how can 72 countries agree to a no-fly zone with the Arctic Circle peace treaty or whatever? How can you do that, right? We couldn't even agree on the Paris Agreement, right? We couldn't even agree on how long to use certain facilities or whatever. Everybody wasn't even in agreement on that. So when you think about this, right, this is not about us, right? They are harvesting energy, they are harvesting certain things, right? And then when you see what's going on right now in Iran and everything like that, when you see this happening, right, you might not know that it has something to do with the ley lines and the grids, and you might not know that, you know what I mean? You might not know that, there's a 10th gate there and so on and so forth, TMI. You might not know this stuff. You might need
Tiamat was
somebody
the
like
ancient
me.
living goddess of the 10th gate, Iran, Iraq, when there was an Eden, and she was the living intelligence gatekeeper to the Christ Buddha avatar consciousness matrix. She was exploded into bits by the moon chain lineages that used her essence to recreate lunar forces to replicate her female essence into reversal formats. The destruction of Tiamat, like a heaven and earth principle living together in perfect harmony, is synonymous with the destruction of sacred marriage, union of opposites, the split in the wall and time, and the shift to patriarchal domination, its electron distortion and misogyny.
And they told y'all that it was never about weapons of mass destructions. It was about artifacts. Well, y'all, I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Somebody else said that. Okay. I didn't say it. Somebody else said that. I'm just repeating it. Okay. I didn't say it. What I'm saying is maybe this is more than meets the eyes. That's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is maybe there's something more to this that we're not actually putting our finger on. There's something more there, right? Elon Musk telling y'all that these tariffs is going to hurt us. Elon Musk is telling you second half of this year, tariffs is going to hurt us. We might be in more trouble. Impeach him now. It could be dangerous, so on and so forth. Now, we don't know. We don't know. Is it possible that we are in for a rocky, you know? Yeah, but see, once you study the okay, junkyard, I want you to think about it like this. If you study the 1,000 monkey or 100 monkey theory, right, and you realize that all you have to do is manipulate the minds of the multitude in order to create the reality that you want, right? Then NASA didn't do anything but create an idea that made people think that there were, so on and so forth. Thus far, by doing that on a collective scale, shaped the way the world is right now, right? This is probably why every time they go up, you still see a half image, right? They never show you a full circle of the globe that they say exists. It's always a half image, right? And that's maybe because, either half of it is missing or half of the people believe and half don't believe. I don't know. But when you think about that and you add that to the very way that they actually chose the weather, right? Here's what I want you to think. If the weather is actually depicted based off of the population and not anything else, right? Then it's saying that when it says that it's a 70% chance of rain, that doesn't mean that you have a 70% chance of seeing rain that day. That's actually saying that 70% of that populated area is going to see rain and 30% of that area is not going to see rain, right? So that's crazy to think that they know that population, right? That 70% of that population is going to see rain and 30% is not going to see rain. That's saying that even the weather is connected to the brain of everybody, because if you think about it, that means that in some way 70% of people going to believe it's going to rain and 30% of the people don't think it's going to rain. So therefore that's the way that you can view that, because they're not measuring the air. There's no weather balloons that's telling you 30% is going to see rain today, right? And it's crazy because they had shows back in the day that was, exposing certain variations of programs. They say, and they have books. There was a guy who actually went from town to town and he actually created rain for the towns and they would pay him, and sometimes he created rain and then it got out of control and then it would flood and so on and so forth. But he sold this, to the government, allegedly, supposedly, right? How to make rain. And you can only imagine the different variations of things that they did with that, right? different people speak about a 369 process of manifestation, and we say that, oh, it's where you repeat something, 3 times in the morning, 6 times throughout the day, and 9 times before you go to bed, right? But there might be certain things that was left out. Like, what if there actually was a 36912 process, right? What if this 36912 process was actually something that was also programmed inside the minds of the multitude, right? And what if that program had a polar, right, where it went to a 12 9 6 3, right? Then you would be in a different timeline if you were to understand the reversal or the polaris or the opposite, right? So if you were to understand as above, so below, and as without, so within, then you would also understand how the mind is connected to the galaxy like your body is connected to the earth, right? So if one was to greatly understand that and the polaris of it, then one would know that the world is operating on intentions, pure intentions right now. And in the time of that operation, negative cannot exist. So you have a lot of low vibrational people that are like winging themselves out, and I guess taking whoever around them with them that might want to be negative. So stay out of the negative zone, guys. All right. You have to do everything to stay out of the negative zone. There's a lot of different things going on right now with energies. And this goes with, Cleopatra needle. Y'all might not know about that. Y'all might not know about, the energies that are used in the Pentagon, being an underground, place for crystal harvesting energies. These places exist, guys. All right. Full disclosure. Full disclosure. They must give us full disclosure now. So they are going to start telling us some truths and some variations of truths, and they have to tell us. Okay, they have to tell us about this. They have to tell us about, moon chain program, so on and so forth. They have to. They are, you know, um, I'm not going to say impel, but they are encouraged to tell us the truth in full glory, I guess. So we about to know some stuff. We about to know some stuff, secret space programs. Yeah. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Okay. Don't be afraid. Embrace this. Embrace this. Hey, for everybody that's on TikTok, please go over to the YouTube page, Ralph DaWise. If you go over there, you can see the different variations of pictures or, conversations that's actually taking place over there. Yes, Project Looking Glass, all of that stuff. I'm trying to get more people on my YouTube page so that way I can show more stuff over there than I can over here. You can say it's fake news. That's why you don't have to go to the page. But you can look at it and what it says. You can go look it up yourself and see what it's talking about when it's talking about Elon Musk and Donald Trump feud. Well, you think it's a fake feud? You think they faking it? You think Iran, in Iraq right now is fake? You think that's fake? You think Trump telling them like, hey, I told y'all to settle. I told y'all it was going to get worse, so on and so forth. You say it's over already? Do you really think so? You can't just bomb somebody's nuclear plant and all of that stuff and it just be over. People don't work that way over there. You know that. You got the Shiites and the Sunnis. Come on, be honest with yourself. Hey, let me see some more of y'all people. It's 200 and something people. Yeah, almost 300 something people over on TikTok. Can I see some of y'all over on Ralph DaWise? That's Ralph DaWise on YouTube. Ralph DaWise on YouTube. I just want to see some of y'all pop up over there. Just let me know y'all from TikTok. Ralph DaWise on YouTube. Just pop up over there. Let me know y'all from TikTok. I just want to make sure that some of my TikTok people is actually going over to my YouTube page. You know what I mean? So you're going to see these different variations take place because that's what's happening right now. This timeline is shifting. Everybody's saying it. They're reading the different frequency. Think about it. They just told y'all that um scientists has a way now to study timelines to see if it's going in a negative way or a positive way. They just said that they're measuring consciousness. Think about that. How they're measuring consciousness. Hey Jake, please don't all caps in the comment section, please. I don't have no mods on this page, so I'm gonna need you to just stay respectable, okay? And can y'all tap the screen and share the live? Look, hit the heart me up there and become a member. So this page, you know, can stick around for a while. If you ain't hit the follow button yet, hit the follow button. You know, you can help me grow. You can help me become bigger on this platform. If y'all don't want to go over to, you know, Ralph DaWise on YouTube, y'all can help me grow over here just by hitting the follow. But I know we live in a society where if you tell somebody to do something, they're not going to do it because a lot of people out there suffer from ODD. I get it. We don't like people telling us what to do. I get it. But you can hit the follow button over here and tap the screen, you know, and probably hit the heart me and become a member and probably hit the subscription and become a subscriber. I don't know. There's things you can do over here on this page too to keep me around, you know, because I'm going to go live from a bunch of pages at a bunch of times. You know, right now we're on 2 different pages on YouTube and Twitch and TikTok. So we multitasking because we multi broadcasting, and if we multi broadcasting, then we're changing the frequency on multiple platforms, and that's a good thing to have these different variations of conversations that have intellect. I'm tired of having these non-intellectual conversations with people, you know. And if anybody want to come up and talk, or come on up. Come on up. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in this verse. Come on up. TikTok, you know. I got the stage opened up for y'all. But yeah, you say some people are still in bed. I know a lot of people over here are still in bed. Hopefully we can make a day of this. There's a lot of people that's in the house still in bed. We still got a lot of stuff that we got to do on the farm. I got a lot of stuff out here to do, man. The lawnmower broke. I got to order a belt for the lawnmower, and I got to cut all of this stuff down, and then I might have to put up a tent or something like that. Like we got a lot of stuff that we got to do, and as much as I'm trying to get people out here to help, like nobody really trying to move or help. It's like everybody is stuck in a a mental block place. They're like, I don't know what to do. I just got to go to work and grind and grind and grind and go to work and grind. It's like nobody can shake that financial burden that's been placed on us. Everybody is stuck in one form or way of the root chakra because everybody's worried about their survival. So it's hard for people to, shake free of that and say, I can be better. Let's gather together and grow together and be better together and so on and so forth. So, you know, slow motion better than no motion. Maybe if I get a couple of, streamers together or something like that, move them into the house and build like that. And also, build on the farm and have retreats out here and so on and so forth. Then maybe I can but right now it's slow. It's me, it's a couple of people here, but I'm trying to get more helping hands in, more helping hands in. Maybe even rent out some more spaces. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? There's a lot of options on the table, and you know, just trying to play the cards right, and so on and so forth. Yes, everyone's stuck in a fear state of being, a fear state of mind. You said I need something to bring traction. Yeah, I'm gonna move Jaguar right here. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move Jaguar right here. We're gonna label this shit the funny farm, funny freeway farm or something like that. And yeah, we going that she's gonna be the attraction that brings people in. I'm gonna be the comic relief after all her lies, and we're gonna grow crop and take care of animals. Yeah. Sounds like a plan, right? She's gonna stop lying to people about that dumbass cruelty-free music. She's actually gonna start making a little bit of music. Maybe not making it because you know they don't want to see her too much. You can't go on a stage smoking cigarettes and singing tunes and shit. Because she need a cigarette every 10 minutes, 5 minutes. She can't do a whole 2-hour live session. Have Jag raking leaves and shit. Yeah. Going out in the chicken coop getting eggs and shit. Instead of saying she a trucker favorite, she gonna say, I'm a farm favorite. Story's gonna change. She gonna be like, and that chicken jumped up and farted on my neck. She gonna be telling the same story as it's gonna be the farm version. Yeah, that chicken farted on my neck. I want y'all to understand the world is one big stage. I promise you it is. Y'all got to laugh at some of these things that's happening in the world because it's one big stage. I mean, the world is not real. It's real. It's a real place, but it's not real because of, you know, no, listen. Can I tell y'all a story? What if I told y'all nobody was in charge of nobody? Right? What if I told y'all that whoever you think is the powers that be is not the powers that be? What if I told y'all that every vessel acts according to the how the vessel is supposed to act and the timeline that it's supposed to act like it's supposed to act in? Okay? All right. Now, this sun is affecting everything. Okay? The sun is affecting everything. Okay? So it's affecting your level of love, your oneness, personal and then it's going for your superior thinking, right? Your victim thinking, right? A lot of people have victimized thinking. A lot of people have superiority thinking, right? These are the things that you want to stop from getting into your central sun, right? The superiority thinking. You're supposed to be combating that. Stop thinking that you're better than people. Stop thinking that you was here first. Stop thinking that this earth is yours. Stop thinking that, because that's what you're supposed to be fighting inside yourself, right? And then your inferior and victim thinking, you're supposed to be combating that, right? Because these are the things that are trying to stop your spiritual self, right? Your spiritual self is supposed to be forgiving. Your spiritual self is supposed to be cooperative. Your spiritual self is supposed to have unity, harmony, right? Non-judgment, right? You know, self-mastery, right? Unconditional love. See, it's a difference. A lot of people love come with conditions. It's hard to have unconditional love. People don't know how to have unconditional love. You put it in the thing. You did? Oh, you put both of them in there?
Yeah, both are in.
So we don't need this? Okay. There's still something in there?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably take it out and put it in a folder and then not have that big envelope.
Yeah, that's what I gotta do. Get the, I want the envelope gone because that's like getting papers and stuff anyway. So look, like when y'all we looking at this situation and we looking at everything that's happening, and maybe this is strategically structured in order to create a level of magnitude that is going to make us grow within inside of ourselves, because this is the duality that you have to practice, right? That's why I say this should be the summer of change, because once you witness everything that you witness, you're going to want to change within inside yourself, right? If you witness, if see, it's a shame because a lot of us don't believe it until we see it, right? So you're forcing the world to make believers out of us, right? Because a belief is an unknown state, right? So in order to make a believer, you have to put them in a knowing state, right? So now that we're in the Aquarius sky, we're under a knowing. That's why it's the age of Alpha, right? This is a God-like mindset, so on and so forth, right? And a lot of people are not taking this energy in right, but it's coming in so strong. This energy is coming in so strong. It's changing the minds of the multitude, but it's changing them into rebels. So now this is what happens when you have a bunch of rebels without a cause. Because the minds of the multitude is making people think that they're in a fight against something, and they're creating an outside. So when your spirit goes through something inside of you, right, then it creates something on the outside that's reflective of feelings and emotions. So therefore, when you're reflecting these feelings and emotions, your environment changes to reflect what you need to go through in feelings and emotions, because your spirit is going through something on the inside. Did I say too much, or did that sound about right? One's in the chat if that sound about right. Because I be trying to explain people how your feelings are your spiritual expression of what you're going through. So when you're going through something spiritually, your feelings are your spiritual expressions, right? And because we have a world where we see through our feelings and emotions, we see what we feel. And then because we feel so strongly and we focus on that, what we focus on is what we get. Okay, for instance, because we feel love, right? And we focus on whether this is right for us or not, right? It opens up the opportunity for us to see the wrong in our relationships. Do you get what I'm saying? Because you'll start pointing it out because you want to, but everything is not perfect. So you have to take that out of the equation when you're talking about relationships, right? Because what you want to do is you want to find somebody that matches you spiritually, physically, and mentally, right? A lot of people can look at a physical lust and get that confused with a love. See, this is where the unconditional love come in, right? Unconditional love comes with the ability to take out the possession of that person's physical body, right? When you have a lust or a physical love makes you want to always be around this person. You always got to see. A mental love or a spiritual love tells you that no matter where you at, no matter where they at, y'all are in sync, right? It's a different level. Now, some people can learn how to love people physically and mentally, right? Some people can learn how to love people mentally and spiritually, right? And then some people can learn all three, right? It's hard to love all three because every part of them is not every part of you, and every part of you is not every part of them. Therefore, you cannot love all three. You can come close to loving all three. Does that make sense? That's the balance of things, right? And that's outside of yourself. But inside of yourself, you're already supposed to have this equal masculine, feminine balance. You know what I mean? Love is reserved for God. People care. Is that why they said that of all three, the greatest is to be generous? Generosity is one of the greatest. Charitable, it says. Most biblical texts say charitable. To be charitable is the greatest of all, because to give to somebody else is to give to oneself. This is why the Bible says, how can you say you love me who you have never seen, yet hate your brother who you see every day? But what we are witnessing in this reality is certain variations of programming that is going to try to push us into a one world type of, collective. But this is where you have to like stop the ego, and this is going to stop like certain variations of fear. Because why do people fear? You know what I mean? Why do people fear? People fear that they're going to be alone. People fear that nobody care. People fear that. But if we change that, if people actually start caring, we start making environments where people feel safe, so on and so forth. And I'm not talking about gated community. I'm not talking about keeping your material safe. I'm not talking about I'm talking about mental safety, spiritual safety, right? A collective gathering, right? A different form of a union, right? There's different variations of this. Look at the fact that a lot of the higher ups are actually trying to put together 15-minute cities where everything is accessible within a 15-minute radius. You know what I mean? Look at Maui. That's what Oprah's trying to build out there, and that's ironic because Lumeria is right up under Maui, right? Lumeria is right up under Maui. This is why I watch cartoons, because they be telling in the cartoons. They be telling. Y'all ain't watched the episode of Moana where she had to dive up under the ocean and go touch that piece of land down there? Y'all ain't watched that? Where she had to dive up under there and touch the piece of land to connect the lands back together, and then the island rose up out the sea. All the lands was connected together. They started coming in from Zimbabwe and coming in from Zuzamistan and all of these other places. You ain't seen that shit? Huh? They be telling on y'all. They be telling why you think so you had Avatar started going into we moving into the Aquarius sky. All of a sudden Avatar is going to teach us the way of the water. What? That ain't ironic to y'all? That both avatars went into they started talking about the way of the water. Okay, we just gonna overlook that. All right, cool. Huh? We're not going to point out these different variations of things, are we? Are we? Huh? You don't see? You don't see why they brought back Lilo and Stitch? Huh? Why does Stitch have to come back to Earth? Huh? Why? You know why? Because there's stuff going on down here. Pay attention. They telling us in the movies. What's going on, Lady Letitia, Grand Rising, Namaste, Ashe, salutations, shalom, peace. Hope all is well. Love is love. Yeah. A lot of stuff is going on, right? And then now they about to tell y'all about the crystal activations, right? They got to tell us about these Lee lines. They got to tell us about the crystal activation, because the crystals are back activated, right? And if the crystals are back activated, then that means the crystals inside of our bodies are also back activated. And if the crystals are inside of our body are back activated, then that means a certain vibrational frequency could tamper with these crystals that are inside the vessel, right? and they're inside certain glands, right? And especially the brain. There's a lot of things that are inside the brain related to crystals, right? And crystalline energy and crystallization, right? This is why it's called a Christ-like vessel, because if one is to allow himself to have discipline over the flesh, then one can create a vessel of Christ that is allowing in certain variations of color from the sun, that is also allowing a certain frequency to be played upon. See, this goes way back to the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, okay? So Jack climbed up the beanstalk, but Jack is a reference of man or the seed, and the beanstalk was actually a reference of your kundalini, right? And Jack rose in the kundalini, and the kundalini took him to the higher places, which is called the heavens, or you might know it as Jerusalem, depending on what book you might have read, right? And when he got to the heavens of the place, he seen two things. He seen a goose that laid a golden egg, right? And he also seen a harp that played a certain tune. Now, that harp might have had 9 strings on it, or that harp might have had 12 strings on it, depending on how far back a history you want to go. Okay. Now, according to this story, he became afraid because he seen the giants, in which he thought the giants might also see him, right? But really, they gave him a opportunity where they explained to him what the harp represented, and they also explained to him what the goose that laid the golden egg represented. Now, the harp might have represented the frequencies, right? The patterns of the mind, the consciousness that is connected to source of all sources, right? And this consciousness might be connected to every vessel and every one. And if a certain frequency was played from this harp, it could pull on the heartstrings of the multitude. For the actual heartstrings is in the mind, because the Egyptians ruled that the medulla oblongata was the heart of the mind, due to the fact that it was shaped like a heart. This is also known as the thinking place, or God's place, because this is where your thought comes in. In this universe, there's actually only 3 speeds. One is the speed of sound, one is the speed of light, the other one is considered to be God's speed, which is the speed of thought. Okay, so if we back this up, let's back it up. Let's back it up. I'm sorry, I went too far. I'm sorry, my ADHD started acting up, and I started going into some other stuff. All right, so if you back this up, we are right where we need to be in this verse. We are right there, right? We are on the brick. We are on the verge. Whereas though we have the technology, we can rebuild it because we can understand this, right? But we want to be outside of understanding. We want to be outside of ourselves. We don't want to admit that we could have been here in the time of, we don't want to admit that we could have been the ones that wanted to forget, right? We don't want to admit none of this stuff. But somebody put a forgetful program in place where we forgot that we have a consciousness inside of us, right? And y'all act like y'all don't remember a time where you went to school and they was like, is anybody inside of you telling you what to do? Do you talk to yourself inside? And inside yourself, you sitting there like, why are they asking us that? No, nobody's telling me what to do inside. Oh yeah, then who was that person that just said, why y'all asking me that? Y'all be trying to deny the fact that it's a conscious inside of you that's talking to you all the time. You know what I mean? If that was the case, everybody would just be blurting out anything if you didn't contemplate with yourself at all times. You have to sit there and contemplate with yourself at all times, because if not, you will have a carnal reaction to everything. Everything will be based off of first instant. You know what I mean? Like that's where that discipline of the flesh, that's where that discernment comes in, because you're sitting there and you're really like in this life, you built yourself off of taking in certain characteristic traits or qualities that you thought was suitable for you. And when you really think about it, none of what you actually do is what you actually do, and none of what you actually love is what you actually love, because it's falsified. Here's why it's falsified. And I'm going to start with simple stuff so I won't confuse you guys, okay? I'm going to start with simple stuff. Watch this. Watch this. Your favorite color is your favorite color, not because you already know every color of the world or tried every color in the world. Your favorite color is your favorite color because the history that you have with that color, right? Maybe your mom said it was her favorite color, or your best friend said it was her favorite color, or some guy you like or some girl you like that color or wore that color well in the past, so on and so forth, and it became your favorite color, right? Simple, right? Foods. Your favorite food is your favorite food because of the history that you have with that food. Your mom always made it. It was something good. You always went to this restaurant and they had it and it was something good. But really, you can't say your favorite food is your favorite food, because that would say that would imply that you tried every food in the world, and you didn't try every food in the world. So technically, you really don't know what your favorite is, because in order to actually know what your favorite is, you would have to say you tried everything. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath. Is today Saturday? Oh, I'm a day behind in my mind. I think I'm a day behind. Oh, man.
Your day.
So yeah, so that's why I say, like, if you really have a truthful conversation with somebody, right? That conversation would be very few, because think about it. Either you're going to be honest and tell them actually what's going on, or you're going to say, "Oh, I'm fine, having a good day," right? If somebody say, "How are you today?" You know damn well you grouchy. You know damn well you sick of work. You know damn well you tired of getting up, taking care of kids. You know damn well your life ain't going right. You know damn well you can use some help. So when somebody asks you how you doing today, why do y'all always lie and say fine? Hmm? Hmm? I'm doing good. How are you? You lying. You lying. You just snubbed your toe this morning. You lying. You was late for work. You rushing. You got more shit to do. You can't catch a break. So we not in a world where we're actually being honest with each other. We're in a world where we actually tell each other what we want to hear. We're in a world where we actually, create this image for one another. Like, listen, due to the fact that people exploit people's weaknesses or kindnesses, it's hard for us to even open up to each other. Look at how many things that we spoke about in the Discord that other people decided to take to their platform for content and talk about, right? And we you know what I mean? Like, it's our Discord, it's our place that we kicking it at and doing stuff in, and they trying to come in there and use our Discord for content. You got to make that make sense. You got to make that stuff make sense. Where you invade somebody else's space and then try to use that space for content to build your space. What type of mess is that? Right? Or where somebody else exploits your life for their content, right? You sitting there trying to be true to yourself, true to your collective, They don't have no collective. They building a collective of haters. You know, look at what they doing. They don't smile. They not happy. They laugh. You can hear how dry it is. You can hear how fake their laughter is, how pretense it is. It's not even genuine over there. You can feel the false energy in them spaces. You know? Oh, Wolf Coochie with his dry ass jokes. Jaguar can't build with him. He fake paying attention. Go back and watch him. He fake paying attention. All that active listening, bobbing of the head, fake paying attention shit. Uh-huh. Y'all are not having a conversation. We can see that y'all are not having a conversation. We see y'all. That's why I keep on saying these people is not real. Watch their body language. Look at them. Latoya, what's going on with you? Appreciate you for stopping in. Love is love. Hey, I'm hitting y'all early this morning. I'm coming to y'all early this morning. What's going on? Y'all make sure y'all get over to go over to the YouTube, follow the YouTube too, TikTok. Y'all can do the things on TikTok that y'all can do on TikTok. You know, hit the like button. You know, all of that good stuff. You know, tapping up the screen, all of that great stuff that TikTok allows you to do. Y'all can do that stuff too. You know, hit the follow button if you ain't following. If it's red up there, hit the follow button. I'm a real person. I'm a real person. So yeah, hit the follow button. I'm a real person. Don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. Hit the like button. Hit the follow button. Don't be a stranger. I's real. I'm the real person. Yes, I is. And then we also live on YouTube. 3 different pages on YouTube. Just go over to YouTube, Ralph DaWise. That's Ralph DaWise on YouTube. And we're also on Twitch right now too. So you can go over and just, join the Twitch screen too. But like I say, we do operate on multiple platforms because I like to show that we are multidimensional beings. Which now, ironically, people are stealing that too. I mean, see, this is why the master never teaches the student everything. You know what I'm saying? Because the student, the Knot didn't know that he was the actual student. You know, he already thought he had that glow. You know what I mean? He thought he was Leroy. You know what I mean? So sometimes when you think you Leroy, you find out who's the man. So when you start seeing that situation, come to a close, then you're going to realize the magnitude of, just how people actually operate in multiple dimensions. See, and the reason why I say that is because I know about operating in multiple dimensions, for I understand how to operate in multiple dimensions. See, certain people say that they operate in multiple dimensions, but they actually don't know how to put themselves in multiple dimensions to operate. See, you have to have certain discipline over your digestive system also, right? This is where fasting comes in, right? This is why different variations of people fast. This is why Muslims go through their month of Ramadan. This is why, certain people don't eat certain variations of things or put things in their body that is considered a low vibrational thing, right? So when you watching certain people that are consuming certain things or drinking, right? Yes, they are putting their blood in a faster vibrational frequency by drinking or consuming alcohol, but they're also dropping the spirit in the body, right? So even though they are quickening up their blood flow by thinning their blood and it's moving through the body a lot faster, right? Their spirit is in a low place. So the people that, or the entity that actually takes over the body at that time is not you. It's a lower vibrational energy, right? And then after that lower vibrational energy of yourself does what it's going to do with the body, when your spirit rise back up and realize like, damn, I just F the whole football team one night drinking, right? Now the spirit, this is where the shame and the guilt, where all of that come from, you know what I mean? But a lot of people don't understand that your body is made up of multitudes of different energies that's controlling the panel at different times. You know what I mean? They show you it in different movies and stuff like that, but you still don't want to believe that you not yourself all the time, that you think you yourself. Because some of y'all will go crazy if you think you wasn't yourself when you was yourself the whole time that you wasn't yourself. So y'all can't really understand what it's like to be in different feelings. Think about it. Sadness is something that creeps upon you. It's not something that you choose. It's something that just creeps upon you, and then you got to shake it off, right? Depression is something that creeps upon you, then you got to shake it off, right? So those are different versions of yourself. How are you when you're depressed? How you act when you're depressed? How you respond when you're depressed? How you eat when you're depressed? I bet you got different depressing meals than you got happy meals. I bet you your happy meals ain't your depressing meals. No, you ain't eating ice cream and shit like that when you know, these are different variations of yourself, you know? And you say, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just craving pickles and ice cream. Yeah, okay. Okay, fucked up combination, but okay. Y'all make sure y'all tap the screen over on TikTok. Y'all know y'all got to tap the screen over here. Stop acting like y'all don't know y'all got to tap the screen over here. Y'all over here acting like y'all just shocked or just so stuck on what I'm saying that y'all don't know that y'all supposed to be tapping the screen over here or something. Y'all know y'all supposed to be tapping the screen doing the free things. And just so y'all don't get bored, I don't want y'all to get too bored with me over on TikTok. So I'm gonna show y'all a little trick that I do on YouTube, since we are on YouTube right now, right? And it's called a song break, because we do got albums out, Atlas Family Music Productions on Spotify and stuff like that. Y'all can go check that out. We are, you know, doing big things. We're doing big things. Just know we are. And listen to the music. That's us. We music producers now. And we got clothes out.
And you're down and out, they're there for you. They be at the spot, they care for you. Oh, where for you? Yeah, they there for you. When you got good news, they went with you. Got your different views, still in with you. They stay with you, every day for you. Through the highs and lows, they stay for you. Oh, it's so nice to feel
appreciated.
And to know that it's real. We're gonna fight every fight as a collective. We're gonna do just what's right as a collective. We're gonna move as one, never quit till it's done. Stay focused and selective. Atlas Collective. Through the stormy skies, they fight for you. When the world denies, they lie for you. They rock with you, on the block with you. Yes, they tick-tock and lock with you. When things go wrong, they there for you. You haven't known them long, and they're there for you. Always standing strong, they stand with you. So brand with you, yeah, they band with you. Oh, it's so nice to feel appreciated and to grow something real. We're gonna fight every fight as a collective. We're gonna do just what's right as a collective. We're gonna move as one, never quit till it's done. Stay focused and selective. Atlas Collective. We're gonna fight every fight as a collective. We're gonna do just what's right as a
So I'll be like, dang, that's how much is a buck.
As a collective, do what's right. As a collective, move as one. Won't quit till it's done. Focused and selective, Atlas Collective. It's so nice to feel appreciated and to know that it's real. We're gonna fight every fight as a collective. We're gonna do just what's right as a collective. We're gonna move as one, never quit till it's done. Stay focused and selective, Atlas Collective. Stay focused and selective, Atlas Collective. Stay focused and selective, Atlas Collective.
So I want y'all to think, man, there's a lot of stuff going on, with this Iraq and this Iran thing. And, if we are looking at this and we are, properly adjusting to what is, always was, there is a grid, golden eagle grid or Stargate that goes all the way back to the Alpha Draconin Orion. And a lot of y'all don't know what I'm talking about, but this is the basic 10 math archetype. This goes back to the fallen seraphim. Now, if you are of the Jewish variety, then you probably know what I'm talking about when I mention cherubs and cherubs, right? You probably know what I'm talking about when I say that, right? These were the things that they were talking about in the books. Huh? They were speaking about this knowledge. Why can't we speak or learn about this knowledge anymore? They make it seem like I'm wrong for wanting to, recap the real stories and different things like that. Y'all don't want to know about this? Huh? The seven heavens, star seeds and indigos. I'm trying to tell y'all, there's a lot that we have to learn. And they slowing us down. It's like every time we start talking about it, every time we start speaking about it, they come over and they interfere. Every time we start talking about it and speaking about it, they come over and interfere, don't they? Right? So we're going to try this again. Now, they might not know what they do. That's why we have to be forgiven. Forgive them, for they might not know. That's what it says, right? Because this where soul fragments come in. See, some of us are more closer to our, acoustic records. Some of us have achieved different variations of knowledge from our acoustic records. Now, due to the fact that it moves like a wave in the body coming from the core, you can only ride the wave up and down, up and down. It goes a little bit higher so you can gather more stuff. You hope it goes a little bit higher. See, in the days that this stuff was written, Christ was considered the 12th chakra, which was the crown chakra of the body before you move into the 13th, right? And this was considered to be the seed, the star cell chakra, or whatever that allows you to get to the higher realms of yourself, right? Consciously, right? And there were certain variations of practices of equally yoked, understanding the masculine and the feminine energy of the vessel, the moon and the sun, the soul system, and also the moon system, or and one came with a different variations of feelings and emotions, and the other one came with the different variations of logic and thought. And however you wanted to look at this, it had to have balance. So one had to have emotional intelligence and a balance in the lower realms of self, or the darker realms, or the darker waters, whatever book you're reading. And then the higher realms, which is considered to be the air or the, light waters, right? And one had to know what was the heavens of the vessel. It says heaven is inside of you, and seek all the knowledge for the kingdom of heaven, right? It also says, that God is inside of you. He who is inside of you is greater than he who is in the world, right? So they taught us, and they told us about a as above, so below. And we learned about the as above, so below. Now it's time for us to learn about the as without, so within. One's in the chat if you ready to learn about the as without, so within. I think it's about time that we embark on a grander journey. I think it's about time we step it up, because right now there's a lot of stuff going on in this world that is, not you're paying attention to it, but I guess you got your eyes closed because of work. I guess you don't really get a chance to point it out because you're sitting there, you're family oriented, you have to deal with this, you don't, and you got people around you that's telling you like, man, I don't care what happens to nobody else, as long as it ain't close to my family, as long as it ain't happened to me and mine, I don't care. So you people are telling you not to care about other people. People are telling you not to pay attention. See, when they told me in 1995 that, China and some of these other places are so busy that people walk by unalive bodies all the time, I was like, ain't no way. And I was like, man, I hope people don't get like that in America. And now here we are, 2025. And sure enough, we acting like we don't even care about bodies. Like we don't even care. Like you care about your shoes more than you care about people. You care about, materialistic shit. A motherfucker be astonished by a pair of sneakers. Like, yo, don't touch him. He got on them retro 3000. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean? So you only care about the bodies that are wearing the things that you think is appeasing or like favorable to the collect. Like, what the like, make this shit make sense. Y'all, please make this make sense. Like, so somebody that dunks a basketball, life is more important than somebody that, like, come on, man. Like, I don't know what's going on in this world, but we in the upside down world. Let me get on my 607 unk shit. We in the upside down world, and God playing games, God inside of you playing games, and I swear to God, I swear to God, and everything that you see ain't everything that you see, because some of the stuff that you see is not what you saw, because you can't see what you see because it's not there. Nothing is there. Material comes based off of the matter, and if the material don't matter, then it really ain't there. And if you ain't moving to the vibrational frequency of that material, then you can't really touch it. Like this table, it's not there. I swear to God, I swear to God. Look, in your mind, you want a table to be there, therefore a table is there. Think about it. They showed you this in Peter Pan. And Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, it was no food on that table, right? It was no food on that table. And Peter said, I want y'all to think that y'all eating some shit, right? And then all of a sudden, they was eating stuff. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Let me tell you something. Peter Pan showed you the truth. You didn't want to pay attention to it. Peter Pan showed you that you had to be connected to your dark side in order to soar, right? He showed you that when his shadow got away from him, when he was inside the house, he couldn't jump out that window without connecting his shadow back to his feet, could he? He had to catch his shadow first, pin it back to his feet, and then jump out. He couldn't just connect it. And even though he had a consciousness, whatever you want to call it, right? They was telling you the truth, and they was telling you the truth. You know, you didn't pay attention to it, but Peter Pan was telling you this world, this world, in this world, you got to practice and accept both. He even told you how to fly. He said, think all happy thoughts, think all good thoughts. That's how the spirit rides within the vessel. You got to think happy thoughts, have gratitude, be able to smile. They told you it. Okay, I'm going to tell you another movie that they told you it in. You ready? You ready? Which one? You want me to tell you it? There's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, now it is.
Yeah, no.
But now I'm talking about older movies. Underworld. Underworld. They told you it in Underworld. Okay, think about this. In Underworld, you had 3 species, right? You had the lichens and you had the vampires, right? But who was they looking for? They was looking for the vessel of man that can hold both, therefore can hold all 3 energies of the light, the dark, and it was in man that it can be held, that had the bloodline to hold all 3 energies, right? But let's go back to the likings, right? They had a fallout because one of the vampires' daughters fell in love with one of the servants that was supposed to protect them in the light. That was it. They was supposed to protect them while they slept in the dark, because they was of the dark and the likings of the other lights, however you want to look at it, right? So they fell out, right? But let's look at the rulingship process, right? Nothing is unalived. The elders is put to sleep, and then another elder rise and rule for that time. Ah, aha, aha. Now you have this same thing happening in our universe, where we are coming out of a Pisces era, where a elder ruled the Pisces era. You can call him Marduk, you can call him whatever you want to call him, but that was the elder that ruled the Pisces era, right? And now that we're moving into the Aquarius sky, a different elder rules that sky and has awakened. And now that elder is like, what the nah, this ain't how we ruling this shit. We ruling this shit with kindness, laughter, because that's the energy that's coming. That's the energy that this elder is pushing out for the verse, right? The same thing in the likings era, like how the likings played it, right? Now, that's one movie, right? Okay. Now, another movie, Twilight. In the movie Twilight, you had the shift changers. They wasn't werewolves, right? They picked the wolf as their animal to change into, but they actually changed into other animals. If you read the book, you'll know the history of the shift changers. They wasn't really werewolves.
It was based on the fact that there were vampires there too, right?
It was they multiplied more because there was vampires there. So when the threat came, the body did something different. The same thing that's happening right now to the multitude of a lot of people. We feel a imminent threat close, and our body is responding to it, even though we don't really know what it is. We don't really know, but our bodies are going into instinctive defense mode. And you know what I mean? Where our bodies are like, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. Spider senses is tangling, but we just like, gotta go to work, gotta get this money, gotta make sure my car is, paid, gotta, you know what I mean? So we on our Peter Parker shit. We just ain't on our Peter Parker shit. All right. So however you looking at it, but see, and we really make things complicated, because if we was unified more, it would be more so like that. Because think about it. The in the movie Twilight, right? The wolves, once you was a part of the pack, right? Your conscious was connected to the rest of the pack. So whatever you was thinking, you couldn't hide it from them, right? This is why a lot of people don't want to be a part of the pack, because they can't hide it. People start seeing it. You start seeing that, like, so people don't really. This is why people say, if you stare at somebody too long, they say, "What you looking at?" Because they think that you see them for how they see themselves, and a lot of people don't like themselves. So when you stare at somebody in their eyes, they get to looking away and doing this stuff because they like, why are you looking at? What are you looking at? Do you see? Do you see my secrets? Do you see my faults? Do you see my insecurities? People don't want you to see that. So they're scared of it. And it's not because they're scared of it, it's because people don't protect other people's insecurities. If we did a better job of protecting each other's insecurities, then people wouldn't care that you've seen them. You know what I mean? But because everybody is so judgmental in this world, don't look at me.
That explains why there are a lot of empaths kind of waking up right now too, because they're sensitive to the
Yes, well, also because the transfer of energy, like so the fail safe. Now I'm glad you brought that up because it's a fail safe in the universe. This is why God never was going to lose. He never could lose because it was said that once man's consciousness drops to a certain level, then ether will be pushed back into this world.
And that's why all the plasma.
Exactly. That's why the solar flares is happening. That's why everything is happening, because ether is being poured back into this world because our consciousness dropped out so much. We stopped using our brain. In the 90s, you actually had to remember phone numbers and addresses.
Right.
Your parents taught you to remember phone numbers and addresses. 2000s, what you do? Put it in your phone. Make sure this is in your phone. Make sure that's in your phone.
I know like 2 phone numbers now.
Not talking nothing. But I'm talking about, I still remember numbers from the 90s. I still remember my grandma's number. I still remember house numbers. I still remember 250 Stevens Avenue in West Akron, New Jersey, because I had to remember my address. When my dad, you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? I still remember numbers because you had to press them on the phone constantly in the 90s. We had to think in the 90s. Before that, more so. You had to remember what street had that phone, that emergency phone on the corner. You had to remember, what payphone to go to, beepers, whatever the case may be, because at different timelines, you had to use your brain differently. We made it too easy. People don't use their brain. And because we made it so easy now, in the physical world, people use their brain less. You would think that you're freeing up more time for people to explore like different avenues of their mind. No, people are not exploring. You can go to somebody right now and be like, I want you to imagine. They'll be like, I don't do that. I don't imagine things. For real. You can go to somebody right now like, I want you to pretend. I don't do that. I don't pretend. What the fuck? I want you to imagine. I don't imagine. Just think in your head. I don't do none of that. You don't think? Nope. What the fuck?
I know it's
if you don't believe me, just go ask somebody what you thinking about. I bet you they say nothing.
There's a
you sitting there thinking about nothing for real? That's what you thinking about. It's impossible for you to be thinking about nothing.
Right. Because right now you're thinking about what you're thinking about.
You have to be thinking about something at all times. You might have a moment where you're just like, oh, I was just off in space. Yeah. But even off in space, you're thinking about shit.
Something on in the back. Yeah. Because you're imagining whatever it is in your head.
Right.
But there are different levels of like visual, being able to visually see something in your mind. And I do think that there are more and more and more people that have that missing component in their brain or in their.
But here's the thing. That's called inner dialogue, or a lot of people don't have an inner dialogue with their self. And that's because someone trained them not to do that. Think about it. And a lot of women right now, they are taught in the idea of being a good wife. Mm-hmm. And they raise and groom their kids to grow up to be what? The perfect wife. You got to stand by your husband. You got to do this. Your job is to take care of the household, so on and so forth. Right?
Cook the meals, clean the house, take care of the babies.
Now, this is because the trick in the mind was to create a gender reversal plan. That gender reversal plan is to say that you can't do the things that a man can do, and a man can't do the things that you can do, right? This create frictions within inside of both parties, because I know I can't bring life into this world, and you know that you can't lift up half the shit that a man can lift up, right? But instead of us practicing duality and understanding that we are stronger together, one gonna say, I could do the shit that you could do, knowing damn well you can't do all the shit that they can do, and I can't do all the shit that you. But instead of accepting it, we gonna challenge each other. He is not waking up.
What is that movement?
Getting more comfortable.
It sounds like a puppy.
And listen, and in reality, our youth started getting further and further from the realm of consciousness. Think about it. If you look back, and every mom that got kids know what I'm about to say. When you wake your kid up, right? Look at how long it takes them to snap back into reality. It was taking 30 to 45 minutes to come out. I mean, not 45 minutes, like 30 to 45 seconds to come out of his sleep. And that's after he done went back to sleep. I'm like 7. And he'll look at me like, eyes will be open, and he'll just be looking at me for like 30 seconds. Like, I'm like, 7, do you hear what I'm saying? Get dressed, get ready for school. For 30 seconds, I'm standing there, but I'm looking into his eyes and I'm seeing the blankness that's on his face. Like and then later on, I would ask him, like, did you even hear what I was saying earlier? He's like, no. I'm like, what the fuck? But we supposed to be observant. We supposed to be observers. We're supposed to be analyzing the body, analyzing the flesh. How can one become more controlled over the vessel? How can one become more disciplined over the vessel? Right? Eating pig feet, pork, all this other stuff, it was a trick, right? How do you tell them? How do you tell the multitude, like, hey, you got to stop doing this? I know it tastes good, but it's a trick. It is something that is you're putting it in your digestive system, and it's creating different parasites that are actually going to the brain, that is affecting the brain and causing mucus in the body. How do you explain that to people? You can't. You know why you can't explain it? Because you're not in the ideal image of the world to explain it. The ideal image of the world shows you these people eating crab meat, all this lower vibrational stuff that comes with these entities that feed the houses of ego, right? This is why the Little Mermaid had Flounder and the crab dude as friends. But she had, listen, Flounder is a higher level fish. Mm-hmm. The crab is a bottom feeder, a lower. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, he was right. He was I can't remember what he called him.
It's the same as if you had the good angel on one shoulder and the bad angel on the other shoulder. It's the duality that we're supposed to practice. Little Mermaid told you about the duality that you were supposed to practice, you know? And her father had the trident because he knew the secret of all three. That's why he didn't go to the land. The land represented the people that was carnal. The land represented the physical. See, he stayed within the spirit and the mental. That's why he was Poseidon. That's why he was the king of the ocean, because he stayed within the darker waters, the lighter waters of the vessel, the spirit and the ocean of the vessel. He didn't care for the carnal. The carnal was the physical flesh, the land lovers, right? So in this verse, we have universal, right? And we have the water laws, the marine.
Okay.
You got marine laws, right? You got universal laws, laws of the universe, which is the laws of the sky, right? Which is your brain. And then you have the laws of the sea, or the laws of the marine laws, which is the laws of the ocean. And then you have the laws of the land. The laws of the land is for the continents, man, right?
Like police rules. And
Yeah, like all the governing systems that we created that is for man, right? That's why they hold whoever is below the belt line, the whoever is in the sacral chakra, whoever is in their feelings and emotions, and you know what I mean? This is the governing line, the governing system, right? So this is like part of the process, right? But in order to get up, you have to go down. Because as above, so below, as without, so within. Now, it's hard to apply this concept to everything because people don't remind themselves about as without, so within. So you make it further in life going deeper within inside yourself, because the deeper you go inside yourself, the more life presents you with challenges. And challenges in life mean that you're reaching deeper depths within inside yourself. So think about it. If I'm trying to fix a whole household, right? I would have to reach levels inside myself that changes up that whole household. Basically analyze the household, realize who can benefit what in the household and who can do what to make it better in the household. Then I have to find the ability to speak to the people in order to make them change, in order to make the household better, right? So therefore, inside myself, I'm challenging myself to be able to change into these different varieties of myself in order to appease to someone outside of myself, in order for them to get their self together to make this household better, or want to make this household better. So therefore, I have to challenge every avenue of myself in order to reach people outside myself to make things better. Now put that on a world scale. One would have to challenge himself in order to break language barriers in order to reach different levels of unity, right? One would have to challenge himself in order to break different variations of religious barriers in order to reach such levels of unity, right? Thus far, ultimately challenging their self to change greatly within inside their self in order to bring change outside their self, thus far bringing certain variations of challenges outside to a help along the way. Group homes, foster care, ass whoopings. I don't know what the universe brings people.
apparently it's true.
Apparently so. Apparently you got to go through enough pain in order to grow
It does help
and
you
be
to
able.
well, it helps you to see that in other people and then feel compassion for them when you go through what you go through.
But it's the bonding part,
I know.
the trauma bonding part.
There's a way to be compassionate without allowing yourself to sink into it. It's almost like you can see it and then respond in a way that lifts them out of it, or at least maybe helps them to lift themselves out of it.
But that comes with being a morning star.
Yeah.
What happens when the morning star don't want to be the morning star anymore?
I don't know.
Hides itself. Because when you're a star of morning, everybody brings you their morning, and you take it and turn it into happiness. You know what happens then? You become the court jester. Everybody's using you for their entertainment because you make them happy, you make them smile, but they're not realizing what transfer is taking place. They're not realizing that they're transferring their negative, low vibrational energy and pulling on your higher vibrational energy, and they're not respecting that transfer. Then you become their entertainment. They're not looking at the energy transfer that's taking place. Like, dang, you make my day easier. Dang, you make my day better. Dang, you make my day enjoyable. They're not looking at, you know, what their day would be like if you didn't, you know what I mean? Because that's the world. This world will make you like, it'll make you like lose appreciation. Like, that's why you have to stay like in gratitude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the best thing to do is try to stay in gratitude. Because if you stay in gratitude, the mysteries and the wonders and the enjoyments of this world, you'll never miss out on. You know, the smell of bacon in the morning, right? I don't even eat it, but I know that smell is making someone else happy. You know, I know the things that I don't do, that I watch other people do, I know that they're enjoying it. So when it happens, it's not something that I don't, because I don't enjoy it. It's not something that I don't want in the world anymore. You know what I mean? Because I know somebody's getting enjoyment out of it. So it makes me happy that somebody else is getting enjoyment out of it. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have that notion to be happy with what other people is happy with. That's why I tell people, like, create the story how you want it. If you go back and you look at the messages, the back messages with these different content creators and stuff like that, you'll see I told them, like, I paint it how you want to paint it. However you want to make me look, do it. Because I'm glad that you feel good with making me look however you're making me look. Now, however my life is, I think my life is boring. Somebody else might look at my life and say, man, you live a very intriguing life. You should write a book. But to me, I'm just living. Now, that would be the same thing Christ went through. Christ was just being himself. Other people made him more than what he was, right? He telling them, all things I could do, you could do, and more, right? He telling people, man, listen, in the future, many people going to come in my name. But he never said he was. He never said he was going to come back in his name. He never said it, because think about it. And he didn't name himself.
Right.
He didn't name himself Christ. Someone else decided to name himself Christ. Someone else, like, when you're looking at these stories that's being told, you got to think about it. That's someone else's perspective. Even our history right now is someone else's perspective, right? Winners wrote the battles, like winners wrote what took place in that war, right? So everything when I look back and I started studying like the swastika and the history of it, right? And I was like, hold on, damn. So the Japanese used this as a symbol of peace, right? And then I started digging further back. It comes from the Afro African. It comes from Afro African, literally, on purpose. I look back, I started digging and started looking at the history of the Swazi. I'm like, so this wasn't depicted as a symbol of hate. This was actually it's like, what? I started studying all types of stuff after that. I started studying all types of stuff after that.
Right. I mean, yeah. It's even different between, like, we were actually having this conversation because, you know, boys just finished high school, and history for one person is different than history for another. It depends on what city you were born in, or that you go to school in. If it's a rural area or if it's an urban area, you'll get totally different teachings.
Absolutely. Like West Virginia, West Virginia don't have world history. They have West Virginia history.
That's crazy.
They take out the rest of the history of the world. Like, they don't, I don't know, like, they include it, but they more so gonna tell you about the Hatfields and McCoys They more so going to tell you about how they separated from Virginia, you know, and their independence. They don't really celebrate the February holiday. You don't see the schools decorate for, you know, Black History Month. The schools don't decorate for that. They do the presidents, because, you know, February has, like, I think the President's Day or something like that. And then they do like another holiday that's in there somewhere, Valentine's Day, and then something else that they decorate for in February. But they don't, like, West Virginia has its own history, literally called West Virginia history, and that's what they teach the kids, West Virginia history. Now, because listen, I raised my kids in West Virginia, so when I was like, what? They ain't teaching y'all U.S. history. They ain't teaching y'all. They blended in. They blended in. And when you get, like, I didn't know, because, you know, in Jersey they had different schoolings that they taught. Like, I learned about the different things that they taught in Jersey versus the different things that they taught. But because I moved from group home, this is why I say I was glad that I moved from group home to group home and foster care, because I found the what was in it. You know what I mean? I got this stuff out of it. I started learning, like, so the same books that they teaching us in the urban areas are not the same books that they got in the suburb areas. All these different tests is not the same because it's different variations of what they're teaching people. I was like, what the hell? That's crazy. And then when I started looking at it, I was like, so it's not only in that, it's in the TV. Like, it's in the TV because certain commercials came on in certain areas that didn't come on in other areas. When I was moving from suburb to suburb and place to place, I was like, what? And, like, finding out from the people that live there, like, so their cable company don't even provide BET or VH or BET or some of these other, you know, MTV2 and some of those other places. Cable don't even provide it. You got to call and tell them. They don't put it in their areas, right? And I started looking at certain magazines. Certain magazines broadcasted liquor and cigarettes, but other magazines didn't. It was watches and colognes. I was like, what the fuck? This is predictive. Like, it's not predictive, but it's programming in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, if you drive through an area, and this is the same thing that I seen with this whole methadone and this whole B plasma shit, right? Like, you drive through areas and you see B plasma centers are smack dab in all urban areas, and it's right next to, like, methadone clinics and Suboxone clinics. Like, what the fuck? What's going on? Now, me personally, allegedly, supposedly, I'm not the one pointing this out, because why? You can't point out the shape or the way the world is going. The fact that they implemented this in our prison systems, you know how many people I've seen come in and out of prison systems that was younger than me, that was strung out on, you know, perk, you know, or some sort of, you know, substance, and literally they put them on that. And now when they get out, they change the NA book. Instead of you giving power to the God that you know or something higher up, you can now give it to another substance. That's scary to me. To me, that's scary. I want to see if Walmart wins out TikTok. Walmart's bidding on TikTok. They got a lot of people that's entering the draft for who's going to get TikTok. TikTok is not going anywhere. I implore people to start building your digital currency now. If you don't understand what I'm saying, is I'm encouraging you to take yourself a little bit more serious and build a brand or image around yourself. I don't care what it is that you can do, you know, just start making some type of, if you knit, if you make sweaters, I implore you to start selling them. If you collect crystals, if you got action figures, I implore you to start selling them. You liquidate your assets to as small as possible. If you in a big house, have that vehicle outside that's able to get you some places. Get you an RV. If you rich already, get you an RV. Have an RV outside ready just in case you got to jump in it and go. Get you some solar panels, find you that one location that you can go. Everybody that's in the city, start moving out to renowned areas. Move out, start going out to those other areas outside the cities, to drive into the city. It's nice to visit the city. But I implore you to go find a community outside of that. You know what I mean? Get these homesteads going. If we don't start unifying it, listen, it's going to be what it's going to be. But unity wins out. Love wins out. I promise you it does. So, however you looking at it, we got to start getting these small sanctuaries together. We about to be in trouble on so many different sides. We got the tariff stuff going on. You got so much different stuff going on. And if Iraq and Iran is not seeing eye to eye, whatever's going on over there, that's going on. I don't know if they protested in New York and LA, but y'all see what's happening with that. I think that immigration protest is going on. Listen. It's too much going on.
That's why those are toys.
I'm starting to think whether it's real or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, is this really happening? Or is they just trying to put this in our mind? Is we fighting? Or we not? And the internet undefeated with shit. So the internet taking it, flipping it, rubbing it down. You know what I'm saying? Changing up the variety of it and whatnots. The internet got its own way of doing what it do. Shit, the internet Ray Charles in it. From here on out. That's why I keep on telling people the internet undefeated. The internet undefeated. The internet is undefeated. What? You got up too fast?
There is nothing out there.
Internet is greatly undefeated. But here's the thing about everything that's happening, right? These people, they wanted to say all this negative stuff about everything that I was saying. They was downplaying everything that I was saying. They was talking crap.
Awakening and clearing miasma. In the beginning ascension stages in the clearing pathway as in spiritual initiate at the soul accretion level, you will start to notice that you are connected ancestrally through your biological family lines to genetic miasma that sources directly from the histories of your family of origin. As you become more conscious, you will experience and become aware of its direct influence upon your person. It impacts everything in your life, what manifests in your reality, until you become aware of it and choose to clear and transcend its influences. When one awakens, one will then need to decide what you want to energetically wear, as everything you inherited in your family, and the collective human race, does not have to become a part of your self-defined identity.
Sorry about that.
As you observe and take responsibility for what you are inhabiting, this is your fleshly body, and being accountable to the current station of your life circumstances, one can participate with healing your genetic and miasmatic relationships that reside as energetic memory in your flesh. In most cases, if you pay attention to the various patterns, attitudes, ideals, emotional intelligence, in your current biofamily dynamic, you will know these archetypal patterns extend to other lifetimes as well as hold relevant information and clues to what you agreed to heal, types of collective human miasma, while you incarnated on planet Earth during the ascension cycle. 4.
Now, see, this is why I speak about the things that I'm speaking about, is because once you start recognizing different variations of miasma, once you start recognizing different variations of energies, you'll start being able to read them in all things, all people, right? So you'll start being able to get ahead of the curve. You'll start recognizing when someone's anger is building up, when someone's jealousy is building up, when someone's, even hormones, right? You can start realizing these things coming off of different vessels, different people, right? Now, people might study it. It might be colorology, photosynthesis, but I implore you to study solar synthesis, right? Which is considered to be photosynthesis of the flesh, right? So it's saying that the solar flares are coming in and affecting your body in the form of photosynthesis. And if you know, photosynthesis is what happens with plants, right? So it's saying that the solar flares are pushing out plasma, gamma, loving energy, and that energy is affecting the body. And here's how you can, recognize it, right? Some people are openly embracing a loving, more open mind, right? And then some people are becoming more closed minded and neglecting, love, trying to become harsh or more, heinous towards love or the operation of love, right? Just want to be at peace, flowers and roses, cookies and bogeys, whatever it is that they think peace is, right? And then some people are, know, oh man, don't come over here with that love stuff. But they're also the people that say, I love everybody. I love everybody. But don't come over here with that shit. Don't come over here with that love shit. Like that don't make sense. Those two things don't go together. Now, however you want to look at this, you might be caught in the physical form of some of this stuff. And it's hard to see the signs, right? It's hard to see the signs, because you might be caught up, love might have you caught up, some type of hidden obligation might have you caught up, some type of promise that you might made have you caught up. Say a lot of people make false promises to themselves. A lot of people tell themselves, I binded myself to this person, or I told this person I'll never leave them, or some people put you in the mindset of need, right? Some people tell you that if you leave them, that they can't go without you, the only one that does, you the last one they got, you the all day, and you need you, and I can't do nothing without you, and you know what I mean? So you got these different variations of seduction or manipulation that people use, so you got to be careful for the different levels of manipulation, the different variations of it, of how people go about manipulative dipping shit. People manipulative dipping everywhere. You hear me? They manipulative dipping all over the world. They is manipulative dipping all over the world. Smack show. Oh, I forgot he said out there. Y'all notice how moods can be affected by the weather, similar concept. Yes, 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 yes. Think about this. Like we just now passed the strawberry moon, right? It was a pink moon. People seen it all over the place. It was different colors in different areas, right? And that comes with this effect that we see on the Lee lines too. You can't put that in. That money sign, I think. So you can't, like, different variations of things, like you can't like unsee, the titles that they put on you, the titles that they put on people make people act affirmatively, right? The whole household concept of a man being the head of the household, macho, all this other stuff, right? The manipulation of how people act or interact with each other, right? I never really understood like some of the things or variations of how we grew to be. But now that I have a chance to bring in, life or be something better, right? I'm starting to realize like maybe we structured and taught each other all wrong. Maybe we taught each other wrong. And I say that in all retrospective depths of how mysteries are revealed, because even the Bible told us not to lean on our own understanding. That means what you was made to understood wasn't necessarily reality, because we was made to understand reality. Someone gave us the understanding that we have about reality. Therefore, we couldn't lean on our own understanding to understand something greater than, you know what I mean? Because the person who was teaching us what reality was teaching us based off of how they wanted to shape reality, not even based off of how reality was. They taught us based off how they wanted to perceive reality to be. Even the elements, you know, you go back and you watch the movie Fifth Element and you're like, oh, so Fifth Element, it's love, because she fell in love with him and it's love. And then it's like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was thought. It was thought. All the things that she observed and all the things that she started thinking about and all the things that she was doing and all the things that she had to get through and she was sitting there thinking. She was on that thing and she was thinking about her, trials and tribulations down here. And it allowed her to elevate to a higher level of herself. But we looked at it and we was like, oh, so she fell in love with Corbin Dallas. Who wouldn't fall in love with Corbin Dallas, right? Like, no.
That's the agenda that they've been pushing.
Right. It was a turnaround effect. You know what I mean? Think about it. Even the Ninja Turtles came out the sewers to kick ass. You know what I mean? They came out the lowest part of New York to kick ass. Mm-hmm. And they made the lower part of New York comfortable. And you know what I'm saying? What? I'm trying to tell y'all. A hero gonna come from the bottom before a hero gonna come from the top. I promise you. A hero's gonna come from the bottom before a hero is gonna come from the top. We can keep on looking at these celebrities and looking at these higher ups and make it seem like that they got good intentions for this world. But if they had good intentions for this world, we would have seen the outcome already. We would have seen the shit put in effect already. Oprah Winfrey had built a school in Africa. All of a sudden, all that bullshit happened at her school in Africa. Okay, that because she never had no good intentions in the first place. Because it couldn't have happened. You got all that motherfucking money and something of that magnitude happened. But okay, play the game. You know what I mean? And then other things too that took place. Other things that took place. You can say the same thing about. And then when you look at how people actually operate, there's actually, when you're talking about funding, you're talking about money, you're saying like, due to the fact that more people survive off of materialistic money, value things, whatever, then you can say that consumer is beating out, because people are not doing the things that are good, because the things that are good don't bring in currency, right? Because we're not buying into goodness. At one point in time, I thought there was a curve. I seen a lot of people crying over double rainbows and shit. I was like, yes, they're feeling it. You know what I mean? I thought we was doing something different. I was like, I seen people frolicking. I ain't seen people frolic in a minute. I seen people frolicking. I was like, yes. Seen somebody hugging a tree. I said, okay, we is doing this. And then they implemented money magic, started having people NPC, and motherfuckers forgot about the ascension process. Everybody forgot about the ascension process. As soon as they did that shit, I was like, damn it. As soon as they implemented money magic get y'all every time. Every time money magic get y'all, I'm like, damn. Every time they implement money magic, I'm like, damn. Every time it gets y'all. And people sell out for those riches. For the road to riches and diamond rings. False because they hate us. False because they greatest. We're trying to buy back our 40 acres. And for that paper, look how low we'll stoop. Even if you in the bins, you stole it. But that's why I say, like, I don't subscribe to this world. I be in my own little world. I promise y'all, I'm like Cinderella. You know what I'm saying? In my own little world, I could be whatever I want to be type shit. You know what I mean? So once you start understanding different variations and different levels of your chakra systems and so on and so forth, then you'll know the manipulation of Yahweh, right? The Yahweh. There is a history and a story of Yahweh on this earth and so on and so forth. And then there's a history and a story of the different variations of the mind control. And this comes with the Watchers, the fallen angels, going back to Nephilim, and so on and so forth. You might not know about this stuff. Y'all might not know about this stuff. This goes back. Y'all remember the Bible tell you about Nephilim? The Bible tell you about the children of old, huh? This is the stuff Jaguar be talking about when she say, in God's law, there shall be nobody before thee. This is what she's talking about. Yeah.
This genetic block became a curse for humanity over the last cycle as it was passed down the genetic lines through interbreeding with the Anunnaki, which further digressed human DNA. Anunnaki and Nephilim hybrids became carriers of the genetic block, and because of their disregard of the law of one, natural laws of God, and intended genetic manipulation for human enslavement, this agenda further advanced the DNA distortions.
Allegedly.
Over time, the distortions manifested splitting between the elemental, physical, body layers, the subconscious mind, and lower and higher aspects of the astral identity.
Allegedly. Right? So, like I say, I'm into, the different variations of how to heal, right? How to heal these things, right? And that comes with being able to talk about it. That comes with being able to hold different variations of conversations about it, right? I hope to start holding classes in the Discord if we get enough people that want to do it, right? Once again, this is a job, trying to bring forth this level of knowledge, so on and so forth. I know a lot of people don't subscribe to it. I know different people are trying to tell people that I'm out here, doing, witchcraft. Well, I don't know what the hell they telling y'all I'm out here doing. I don't even think it matters. Like, if you want to know, you want to know. I had somebody send me a message, right? I deleted it. But they put the message on one of the videos. They put a response on one of the videos. They were like, I studied with African Prince or Boostus or something like that, and you're going down. Like, they telling me, like, I spent a year in Africa studying.
To heal these schisms and rehabilitate the DNA, a being is required to learn about the law of one and practice the law of one principles, to finally heal and embody the integrated spiritual identity. Once all beings are proficient and accepting of this as the truth, as the nature of reality, these genetic blocks, seals, are able to be removed as the person is not an endangerment to themselves or others. The removal of this 666 seal means that the person has achieved a process of planetary ascension, no longer required to reincarnate in the lower creational realms or 3D Earth. This planetary quarantine beginning to lift also means the possibility of more enlightened extradimensional races finally being able to communicate with our planet, as this is a sequential event leading the human race to join in cosmic citizenship, as a potential peaceful race. This is an opening during this time cycle, to be lifted away from these genetic blockages, miasma, that have impacted all of humanity. There is no judgment, it's understanding our history, and the fact we are incarnated down here means we have taken on the imprint as a part of the human race. If we have not cleared this imprint through our ascension mission, we will have the opportunity to do this DNA healing from this point now and ongoing, too.
So that's what's happening right now, right? Okay. Now, whatever the physical expression of this stuff is, that's what we might be experiencing. That's what we might be observing. That's what we might be seeing, right? But as far as the as far as what is taking place, you might be looking at, and that's why I say, like, when you get into the hakuses and stuff like that, this is where they're going to stop the conversation, right? This is where the conversation starts to change, right? Because this is the Canaanites, the early Canaanites, the 1400 dynasty, the hakus, traditionally fifth dimension. Like, listen, I want to talk to y'all about some deep stuff, and we're going to get there.
Only the 15th dynasty rulers are called Hyksos. The Greek name, Hyksos, was coined by Manetho to identify the 15th dynasty of Asiatic rulers of northern Egypt. In Egyptian, Hyksos means rulers of foreign countries. However, Josephus mistranslated Hyksos as shepherd kings.
Hebrews.
The earlier 14th dynasty had also been Semitic and or Canaanite. However, its pharaohs did not style themselves Hyksos, and they seem to have been vassals of the 13th dynasty who oversaw a community of Asiatic merchants and shepherds who had been granted land in the Nile Delta.
The
Hyksos, by contrast, were largely Amoritic invaders who, capitalizing on a weak moment in Egypt's history, managed to conquer the entire country briefly as far south as Thebes, under Kion, ca. 1582 BC. The Hyksos had Canaanite names, as seen in those with names of Semitic deities such as Anath or Baal. Several of their pharaohs did in fact adopt the Egyptian title Hekwachasset, foreign overlords.
Now, later on, these were changed from Hyksos to Hebrew. So this was the timeline that it was referring to. Then you have Temple Mount, the Crusade period, Christian Crusade with the Knights Templars, and so on and so forth. This goes into Ezekiel Wills, the soul of Solomon's Shield, which goes into the 72 demons of the soul of man, and some of the stuff that Cat Williams was talking about. And then it also speaks about the covenant of Christ. So that's why I want to get into this, and I want to speak about this more. Probably have to do it over in the Discord, maybe. We'll speak about it more.
Convent of Christ, Tomar. The Convent of the Order of Christ is a religious building in Tomar, Portugal, originally a Templar stronghold built in the 12th century by Gualdem Pius, provincial master of the Order of the Temple, around 1160. The convent rotunda was modeled after the Dome of the Rock, after the Christ Templars fled from the invasion and massacre resulting from the First Crusaders' capture of Jerusalem in 1099. The main rotunda in the convent was made to connect with the ley lines and run sound frequencies into the earth, as the Essenes Christ Templars were aware of the Holy Grail Point Stargate located in Jerusalem. After the Order of the Knights Templar was dissolved in the 14th century, the Portuguese branch of the order was turned into the Knights of the Order of Christ, which supported Portugal's maritime discoveries of the 15th century. 6.
So This is why I want to get into, the, Jerusalem and the Lee lines and the SNs, right? A lot of people don't like talking about this. They don't like talking about this original group called the SNs that, Joseph was a part of, Mary Magdalene was a part of, so on and so forth. And this is probably why they keep getting mad at me, because no matter how much they keep on trying to tear down the knowledge, it just keeps on slapping them in the face. So we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to how this vibrational frequency has changed and how a lot of people need to understand exactly what's going on. And a lot of things that are, of fear is not of a notion anymore. And people should actually unify and build in a greater way and a greater light. And that's why here over at the Atlas family, we operate with love and they can't stop us. I'm a content creator. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, I bet they mad. It's okay. From TikTok to YouTube to Twitch to Kick. What? Nigga, we made it.
You be creators of nonsense, content of self-importance, hate spreading to no end, viral emptiness, no substance. Stop hogging the spotlight and just share that ish. It goes a longer way when you spread that ish. Make it way, just spray that ish. Real chosen ones out here to change that ish. From TikTok to YouTube to Twitch to Kick, get with it, we built it, you can't flip me dip it. From TikTok to YouTube to Twitch to Kick, get with it, we built it, you can't flip me dip it. Algorithms don't move us, we move to rhythm of truth in us. Hating on love in your sleep. Time is up, now we numbers deep.
Whoa.
One love in multiple forms, vibrating contrary to norms, creating waves worldwide, elevating frequencies high. From TikTok to YouTube to Twitch to Kick, get with it, we built it, you can't flip me dip it. From TikTok to YouTube to Twitch to Kick, get with it, we built it, you can't flip me dip it. You can't flip the script.
Whoa.
You're having a legend. Get with it, we built it. You can't flip the dip it.
These people don't understand. Stop trying to hog the spotlight and share that shit.
We're off DaWise. Talk to him.
We built this. To the moon. To the moon, Alice. I'm a content creator. It's okay. This is my job. Hey, I bet they mad. From TikTok to YouTube to Twitch. Hey, if nobody told y'all that they love you, let me be the first but not the last to tell you I love you. And also remember, one's image of oneself should be greater than reality. Don't let nobody say you're not great, because you are.
There's so much we need to know. As above and so below.
Hope y'all enjoyed the live.
+1 get 3.
Hope y'all, come through next time.
Galaxy,
With
Mr. Wise. Oh, I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Now I know the law of one, and what's power in the sun. We're made up of liquid gold. Wise will make your mind unfold. Hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, oh, oh. Hanging with Mr. Wise. Oh, oh, oh. I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Ralph the Wise. I'm hanging with Mr. Wise. Ralph the